Hey everyone, it's me, Jenny, Vintage Soul Crafter. So, my battery might go dead in the middle of me talking and chit-chatting with you guys, but I thought this was a good time as I stood here ironing something that I hate to do, and I was contemplating and cogitating and all of that other good stuff, and it seemed like a good opportunity to share with you some of these beautiful linens and embroidery and needlework and cross stitch and needlepoint. I still haven't figured out the difference between needlepoint and like embroidery. I know embroidery kind of, from what I understand, encompasses crewel and needlepoint. It does not include cross stitch. You may comment and correct me if I'm wrong, but it does include needlepoint. And I have needlepoint, and I feel like I know it when I see it, but I can't really necessarily give a definition. Like, for instance, this is not needlepoint. This is embroidery. It's not crewel because it's not done with yarn. Aren't you proud of me, Bonnie? But it has like this Greek key kind of little design that's going through it. So anyway, all that being said, it does kind of bring me to my point and what I was standing here contemplating and wanted to share with you guys. And that is, I hate ironing. I don't iron. I will wear wrinkled clothing before I iron my clothes. Hence the reason you are not seeing me iron on an actual standing ironing board, because I don't own one. Don't own one. I won't say I won't ever own one, because I might end up owning one with all of these vintage linens and whatnot. So yeah, but as I was standing here ironing these things and thinking about the fact that I don't iron anything except lace and things like this that I'm going to be selling and listing and so forth. And if it were my own and I were keeping it and I were displaying it, I would also iron it. But I realized as I was standing here doing this that there's so much more to selling and collecting and enjoying and, seeking after, hunting down vintage items than just loving vintage items, okay? So for instance, especially when it comes to selling vintage items, I have a couple of points. So hopefully I can stay on task and not get too distracted with myself and my ironing and, multitask challenged over here in California. That's right. So anyway, what I was thinking about is the fact that you cannot, I don't think you can fully sell well vintage items without knowing vintage items, okay? Are you tracking with me? For instance, I don't know a whole lot about sewing, about embroidery, about things like this. And to a certain degree, that's okay. I don't need to be an expert in quilting or sewing or needlework in order to be able to know enough about it that I know when it's vintage, I know when it's desirable, I know, like, for instance, with this piece, sorry if I'm going to be knocking things, with this piece, this is the backside. I would say this is a pretty quality piece because you are not seeing a whole bunch of extra threads, you're not seeing the knots, and so forth and so on. This backside looks almost as nice as this front side, which I now know has little embroidery knots. Thank you very much. I'm not sure which one of you shared that with me besides Bonnie, but these are little embroidery knots. Adorable. I just think I could stand here and just fiddle with these for, probably a good part of an hour. I know, weirdo, but I know some of you relate. Anyway, I know enough about it. I grew up in a household with a sister who knit, who tried to teach me to knit, just could not get the hang of it. I used to do macrame. I had a lot of exposure to it. I made sure my own daughter took sewing lessons, and she made some beautiful, beautiful things. I did not sew myself, but I did know how to crochet. Not an expert crocheter. I did a little bit of You know, like I've shared with you, those daggum yarn things where it has 10 million yarn things for like rug kits or whatever, and you never finish. I would definitely not say I'm anywhere as skilled as my sister insofar as like being able to create things with yarn and stitching and so forth and so on. But you guys get the idea. I had exposure. I did a lot of that myself. I like to do a lot of different things. Probably, you know, a little bit of attention deficit going on there, maybe, I don't know, or it's just part of the consequence of having a creative mind. But I think that in order for me to adequately and appropriately represent an item well, I need to have a basic knowledge of it, not just a love of it, okay? I think that makes sense. It makes sense to me. And I'm just like I said, I'm just kind of processing this with you. But more importantly, I think even than the knowledge of an item is the item itself. So as I stand here, not particularly liking the ironing, although I'm getting a lovely, lovely facial from the steam of this iron, I have to say, I need to handle these pieces. I need to get familiar with these pieces in order to be able to know that I am selling someone something that I know about, and I just didn't, you know, on a whim, like, oh yeah, I'll sell that. I can make money off of that because people sell those and they're making a lot of money. No. It's not about that for me. Certainly, I'm not in this to go into debt by any stretch of the imagination. And well, yeah, there has been a little bit of that, especially as I figure out the postage. Sorry, I'm going to be shaking this camera. I know it, but I don't have a tripod that's big enough to stand on the floor. So, and I'm in California, and so, you know, even if I did, there could be an earthquake and it could be shaking all over the place. And then we'd have other issues. But anywho, back to the point. Yep, see, there I go, rattling on. Yeah, I feel like there's just so much more to it, and that as I handle each of these pieces, as I photograph them, as I get familiar with them, I can describe them, I can honor the owner, the woman who created these pieces. These were created by different women. This whole group is kind of a mishmash of estate sales, and it's just really important to be able to touch each of these. And so I think in that case, as much as possible, besides just picking them up to look at them and buy them, stuff them in a bag, and then take a few pictures of them, I like to touch them. I like to handle them. I like to feel them, you know, kind of, and standing here too is the other little thing I just have to say, even though I don't like ironing. Oh my gosh, you guys, the smell of fresh linen, because I did launder these, they needed to be laundered. I don't always launder things, it just depends on, I can handle a granny smell, you know, like rose water vintage smell. I can handle that old, a little bit of a musty smell, but I'll air things out. But if it doesn't air out well, then no, it has to be laundered, and I do it on a delicate cycle and all of that stuff, you know. So anywho, yeah, the smell of this, oh gosh, as the steam hits it and it comes up with, it smells like fresh grass and wildflowers and, you know, like a spring day after it's been raining. Oh, love that. Oh, it just brings you into a whole new area of your mind and brain and thought processes. It's delightful, utterly delightful. So in that regard, I do love ironing. The other reason that I bring this up is because I did make a Goodwill stop. I had to take my Odie boy to the vets, and I failed. I failed to resist. I'm serious. I really do need like Goodwill 12-step or something. I wasn't going to go again until the President's Day half-off sale. FYI, President's Day half-off sale. Bonnie and I will be hitting it. I did like put gobs of things back, so I feel like I'm making progress in that regard. I did not get all of the things that were in my cart, and it's gotten a lot easier in some ways because Goodwill has definitely caught on to the fact that people love them, and they have definitely raised their prices some. So even after the first of the year, because I go often enough that I notice these things. And yeah, children's books, $2, you know, for little golden books, and like thick books that used to be $1.99 are now $3 or $3.99. They even have a vintage book section. But okay, back to the point. I stopped at one of our Goodwills, because it was on the way with Otis and all that good stuff. And they had some Breyer horses. Okay, I rarely see, this was like a group. They weren't all Breyer. I looked at them. I do know enough about them to look for the logo, to look for USA, made in the USA, not the more modern current ones that I don't think have the same quality, that are not being made here, but have just been kind of, you know, thrown overseas because it's less expensive, yada, yada. So there were some beauties. And Goodwill knew it too, because they were, okay, they weren't asking what they would cost on eBay. Mind you, on eBay, one horse would cost you at a minimum probably of $10, a minimum. And it may not even be that old or that collectible. These ones were definitely, there was about 4 or 5 of them that were definitely vintage Breyer horses made in the USA. They were beauties. One of them had its blanket on, its saddle blanket, you know, not saddle blanket, but blanket on, and a horse blanket on. And oh, you guys, I picked them up, I looked at all of them, I examined them, I put them in my cart, the ones that I wanted. One had a little chain on it, a little chain bridle on it. And you see me, I'm like really working this piece of linen right here, because it's not wanting to, there's some good wrinkles in here, but I'm not gonna, obviously I'm not starching this. I won't starch them, but I want to do the best I can to list it appropriately. So anywho, I put them in my cart, I took them out of my cart. And then I'm like, no, this was supposed to just be a quick drop-in, okay? And mind you, why I think I can get in and out of a Goodwill in the course of 30 minutes, I do not know. I am living in denial. I read this great quote. I will share it with you. I will find it and share it with you with this video, this great quote in this series that I'm reading, called the Walk series, and I'll put the author's name too in the comments, or the, you know, section, the description section below the video. So anyway, and then, you know, I'm like looking at things, I'm doing the best I can. Otis is in the car, it's cool. I know if you're a dog lover, I'm very conscientious about that. Please don't lecture me. I would never, ever, ever leave my dog in the car any more than I would my children, especially if it's hot or water. Okay, so time's going a little bit by. Normally he comes in with me and they just adore him in there and blah, blah. But I'm only going to take a few minutes, right? I look at other things. I don't find much of anything. I found a few books, and like I said, I only picked the ones. I found a cool mushroom book, and I put the other things back. Well, I put the horses back, because as I'm going along and I'm looking for other little tchotchkes or whatever, anything that catches my eye that I just am like, oh yeah, cool, I love that, you know, because you do have to love it first and foremost. But as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, these are just going to sit around until I can get them listed. Where am I going to list them? And am I going to list them in eBay? Because I've really found that I just do better. I'm selling things on Instagram, and I'm kind of getting the groove of that. And I'm kind of enjoying that. It has its ups and downs, just like, you know, selling on Etsy. And I'm getting the groove of that, but it's like, am I going to sell these on Instagram? I guess I could, but is this going to be my thing? You know, like, is this a craft supply? And it doesn't have to be. I'm not like going to be all, you know, pharisaic or anything like that and legalistic about like, oh no, it has to be because I want to do collectibles. I love collectibles. I do more collectibles, you know, in my own life perhaps, and have in the past than you guys are probably getting really tired of seeing this particular cloth, so I'm going to move on to another one because I think that that's about as good as I'm going to get this one. But yeah, I just had to really rethink that, you know, and then it occurred to me as I was rethinking that and pondering it and all that good stuff that looking for which one do I want to do next? What do I want to do next? I have like such huge piles here. Anyway, oh, sorry. Yeah, so that all just leads me to standing here doing this and thinking about the idea that you can't do everything. I cannot collect everything. I cannot sell everything. I love too many things. I see people, they specialize. Okay, yeah, I saw a coat at Salvation Army, and initially it looked like it was vintage. But then I did a little research, thank goodness for the internet where this is concerned. I did a little bit of research on the designer, Giorgio, I think. There's a few of them actually with that name, but none of them were really like vintage designers. I think I'm running out of water here. That tablecloth took all my water. So I did the research, and it wasn't a vintage coat. And I thought, well, you know, I'd have to ask somebody else who's an expert in this. And I have enough just to be knowledgeable of the things that I own and the things that I'm buying, like these fabric items and whatnot. And anyway, I think you guys get what I'm saying. I just think that I love handling these pieces. I think it's important to handle them. Part of that process is in the ironing of them. Much as I'd rather be like binge watching something on TV, which I suppose technically I could, because I could stand here and watch TV while I iron, but I might burn myself because, you know, that would require more multitasking than I might be able to do. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Share some of those thoughts that were running around in my head. See if I could capture them, capture those thoughts and make some kind of sense out of them. I don't know, comment down below. Let me know if you relate at all. What do you think of this gal? Isn't she pretty, 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 pretty? She has these pretty little embroidered swirly, sorry if you're getting my head, hopefully not, little flowers. I love these. And you know, the little spots and things like that, like I've talked about before, they do not bother me at all. I think that adds to the charm. It says somebody loved this enough to leave it out and use it and display it. And I love the little crocheted, filet crochet perhaps. There's like little dragonflies or moths or butterflies in the, I think that's filet crochet. I'm learning, you guys. I'm doing my best. And I just love these little feminine pieces like this. So as long as my phone is not utterly dead yet, let me see if I can share a few others, or udders, like our daughter used to say. This is another runner, and it's got, is it a runner or is it a pillowcase? It's open on both ends, so I'm not really sure maybe she was going to cut it. Maybe she was going to cut it and use it as pillowcases, because it kind of looks like it should be pillowcases to me. I mean, original price tags. This lady had a lot of the flour sacks. In fact, there's actually one that says, that's over in a pile over here, that has the imprint from the flour sack. But the cotton flour sacks, Nick the Booksmith uses them in her, and a lot of people do, to make their junk journals and whatnot. Very versatile kind of cloth. And I just listed in my shop a whole bunch of Aunt Martha's, the patterns like this, the hot transfer patterns. And they were all from this woman, although these ones are all unused. So hop on over there if you are interested in those. There's some cutie patootie ones, really fun ones. I already sold a couple of them right after I listed them. And so, yeah, this lady had a lot of those things, some crochet stuff, and a lot of these transfer of the patterns that she would put onto various different sackcloth or, other plain linen cotton pieces like this. The one that I was working on when I started to ruminate, cogitate, percolate, not regurgitate, thankfully. I'm regurgitating words with you, was this one right here, which I love, 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 love. This one, oh, whoops, where are you? I'm like showing it to the lamp that's hanging there. Not very helpful, is it? Yeah, this is a pretty one because it's flowers. Pretty much anything with flowers is a winner chicken dinner for me. Winner flower dinner. I think I started to show this little patchwork piece that was from a most recent, or she did a lot of quilting, but hand stitched a lot of it, if not all of it. Very pretty. What else? What else have I got over here? This is kind of plain, I guess some people would think, but I think extraordinary nonetheless. And it's blue on blue, as you can see, but really lovely, lovely pattern and needlework on that. That one still needs to be ironed. Oh gosh, I have a pile of like lace over here. This is, for instance, one of those that then Bonnie told me about this, that you transfer it and then you pantry towel Vogurt and then you color it. There's these like coloring pins. So I love this little tomato and peach lady, maybe tomato man and peach girl or something. I don't know. They make a cute couple though. Let's see. There's some other goodies over here. Another little, I've always loved these. I had to have a canopy bed. I had a Sears and Roebuck canopy bed. Oh, that one's pretty, and it has a nice little sheen to the embroidery floss there. Lovely. And then this one, which is on linen. Pretty thick, good linen. So fun. These are so fun. I love seeing the ladies that use them, and gents, but primarily ladies that use them in their junk journals. There's a gal, I know at least one on Etsy, that actually sells, like she cuts them apart. Look at that with all of the crochet edge there. So feminine, so lovely and dainty. Maybe California poppies, I would say, based on the leaves especially, and since this is California. And so, yeah, but I just don't have the heart. I can't cut them apart. I think this is one that probably she was going to do some needlework on and never got to it. So if that's your thing, certainly you could do that. I personally think just the prints alone are lovely and just so vintage in their style and so forth. I love this one. Oh, this one's not going to show very up. This one's not, I don't even know if any of these are even in frame. Hopefully they are. This is an adorable little angel on her cloud, and this one actually still had the pin and the thread stuck in it. She looks like she's, as Megan used to say, she's brooming her cloud. She's brooming her cloud. She's a little dust angel, taking care of all the dust up there. And then these are some that are just the patterns that don't have any stitching. This is like a whole set. Oh my gosh, sorry for the arm. I have a couple of these. There's two little pot holders that the gal never finished. Those don't go there. How'd those get there? I love these pieced together pieces. All the different variety of texture and colors, that patterns that don't match but all match when you put them next to each other like that. I love that. I love how you can take things like that. It's kind of like us as people, with all our varying degrees of flaws and shortcomings, but all in all, we are beautiful and perfect in our own ways, created and made. And I love little, I don't know, I think this is finished, but I love little little baby lap pads, blankets like this, or baby doll blankets, again, with all of these fantastic little vintage fabrics and stuff all pieced together, and then the back of it. So sweet, so pretty. These ones I keep because I love them. I mean, if I had the heart to, it would be a really adorable journal cover, like traveler's notebook cover, but I just don't have the heart. I just love them, and they make me happy to look like. So I guess that's it, you guys. I guess that's enough of my rambling for today. I have a lot here. There's a lot here. I don't know if you can see. There's a pile there, and more over there, and stuff over there. And so, yeah, I'm working my way through it, though, and gonna get it listed. I'm listing new things almost every day. It takes a lot of time, but I'm getting her done. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening to however much of this you listen to. And yeah, I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.